What if everything we think we know about addiction is incomplete? What if you cannot arrest your way out of it, shame people into recovery, or punish pain out of existence? What if the real driver is not just drugs, but suffering that never found a safe place to go? And what if helping people heal does not require someone else to lose? I do not believe recovery has to come at the expense of compassion. I do not believe safety and empathy are opposites. And I do not believe we have to choose between accountability and humanity. I believe in something else. Welcome to Logan's Voice, a podcast about truth, awareness, hope, and healing in the middle of America's poison drug crisis. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad. I'm not speaking from theory, I'm speaking from lived experience, loss, love, and the determination to prevent other families from walking this road. If this conversation matters to you, follow the podcast, share it with someone who needs it, and help us change the way we talk about addiction in this country because awareness spreads one person at a time. We spend a lot of time talking about supply, drug seizures, border security, arrests, new laws, tougher penalties. And yes, dangerous substances flooding communities absolutely cost lives. Enforcement matters, public safety matters. But here's the uncomfortable truth: if there were no demand, there would be no supply. People don't wake up one morning excited to destroy their lives. Addiction is not a hobby. It's not a lifestyle choice. It is almost always an attempt to solve pain, emotional pain, trauma, loneliness, anxiety, depression, shame, loss, disconnection. Sometimes physical pain, sometimes untreated mental illness, sometimes generations of hurt that no one ever named out loud. And drugs do something powerful at first. They work. They quiet the noise, they soften the edges, they provide relief when nothing else has helped until they stop working, until the solution becomes the problem, until the person is trapped. By the time families realize what is happening, the situation is often already complex and dangerous. And there's another issue we need to talk about honestly: the bickering, the fragmentation, the endless arguments between advocacy groups, activist groups, recovery communities, policy organizations, and families. Everyone is convinced their approach is the right approach. Everyone believes their strategy will save lives. Everyone is fighting hard because the stakes are life and death. But sometimes it starts to look like we are fighting each other more than the crisis itself. One group focuses on enforcement, another focuses on harm reduction, another on treatment, another on prevention, another on policy reform, another on stigma. All important, all necessary, none sufficient alone. Meanwhile, families are still burying their children. At some point, we have to ask difficult questions. When are we going to stop the turf wars and focus on the shared mission? Lives saved, not credit claim, not ideological purity, not who gets to say they were right. Addiction does not care. Addiction does not care about our disagreements. Fentanyl does not pause while we argue strategy. Grief does not wait for consensus. We do not need one perfect solution. We need coordinated solutions: prevention and enforcement, treatment and accountability, harm reduction and recovery support, family education, and community resilience. This is not an either or problem. It's a both and problem. And the truth is, none of us can solve this alone. If your goal is fewer deaths, safer communities, and more people in recovery, then we're on the same side, whether we agree on every tactic or not. The enemy is not each other. The enemy is the suffering that fuels addiction and the toxic supply that is killing people faster than ever before. Here's something I believe with every part of me. In order for me to win, someone else does not have to lose. Recovery is not a zero sum game. Compassion does not erase accountability. Hope does not weaken safety. Helping people heal does not excuse harm. It prevents more harm from happening. If we truly want to reduce addiction, we have to reduce suffering. Connection instead of isolation. Treatment instead of waiting lists. Mental health care without shame. Purpose instead of despair. Community instead of abandonment. People who feel valued do not want to disappear. People who feel seen do not need to numb invisibility. People who believe they matter are more likely to protect their lives. Most people struggling with addiction are not trying to die. They're trying to feel okay, trying to sleep, trying not to panic, trying to escape memories, trying to quiet self hatred, and trying to survive something invisible to everyone else. When we reduce addiction to bad choices, we erase the human story underneath. Accountability still matters. Actions still have consequences. But punishment without healing is like mopping the floor while the pipe is still broken. The water keeps coming. Imagine instead a society that values prevention as much as enforcement, where early mental health care is accessible, where asking for help is seen as strength, where recovery resources are easier to access than the drugs themselves, where families are supported instead of isolated, where people leaving treatment do not return to the exact conditions that led them there in the first place. That is how you reduce demand. And when demand falls, supply loses its power. As a father who lost my son to fentanyl, I have lived inside anger, grief, blame, and the endless question of why. My son was not weak. He was not disposable. He was not a statistic. He was human, deeply loved, endlessly missed. Like so many others, he deserved support before the crisis, not judgment afterwards. Every life lost represents missed opportunities across a system that still struggles to respond effectively. But we can learn, we can improve, we can work together instead of against each other. I believe in a simple idea. When the lake rises, every boat should rise. Safer communities help everyone. Accessible treatment helps everyone. Strong families help everyone. Reduced stigma helps everyone. Recovery helps everyone. This is not about choosing between safety and compassion. It's about recognizing they work together. We can hold firm boundaries and open hands at the same time. Truth and mercy, consequences and second chances, protection and healing. If this episode spoke to you, please share it. Start conversations that reduce division instead of deepening it. Support organizations doing good work, even if their approach is not identical to yours, because unity saves more lives than rivalry ever will. Check on the quiet people in your life. Support recovery efforts in your community. Carry naloxone if you can. Advocate for solutions that address root causes, not just symptoms. And most importantly, see people as whole human beings. If you lost someone, if you're struggling, or if you love someone who is, you are not alone. Your pain matters. Your voice matters. Your loved one matters. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.